This video has been kindly sponsored by Squarespace. Hi everyone! I'm back with another fall crochet video, and this time it's for accessories. There's 3 different accessory tutorials in this video, including a pattern for the gloves that I'm wearing now, and I think that they're all just perfect for fall and really easy to do. With all that said, let's go ahead and get started. To create the granny squares for the gloves and the scarf, first create a slip knot and chain 4. Then slip stitch into the first chain and then chain 2, which counts as a double crochet. In the space in the middle, work 2 double crochets. After, chain 2, and then work 3 double crochets in the same space. After, chain 2 again, and create another set of 3 double crochets, which you're going to repeat for a total of 4 sections. Once you have 4 sections of 3 double crochets, slip stitch into the first chain of the row. Then slip stitch into each stitch until you get to the chain 2 gap on the side. In that gap, attach your second color, then chain 2, which counts as a double crochet. For row 2, work 2 more double crochets, a chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets, all in that same space. In the next space, and the other 2 spaces after that, work 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. Once you reach the end of all the chain spaces, slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, then slip stitch down until the next chain 2 gap. In that gap, attach your next color and chain 2, which counts as a double crochet. In row 3, which is the last row, add 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into that same space. In the space in the middle of the 2 corners, only work 3 double crochets. After, work 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the corner space. So the middle sections only get 3 double crochets, and then the corner sections get 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. At the end, slip stitch into the first stitch of the row. For the gloves, you're going to chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. For For the scarf, you're going to create one more row of double crochets before cutting off. To create the gloves, make 4 granny squares. Once you have the 4 squares, place 2 of them both wrong sides up on the top and bottom of your hand, and use stitch markers to mark where your thumb begins and ends so you know where to keep a hole for your thumb. Then take a tapestry needle and your border color and sew the left and right sides of the granny squares together. Make sure for the side of your thumb you sew into the stitch marker stitch, but then stop. Then use a different yarn thread to sew the other side together. For the other side, you can just sew the entire side together. After, turn your granny squares right side out. To create the bottom ribbing, attach your yarn to the bottom of the glove, then chain 6. You're going to work single crochets down the chain, which should be 5 single crochets. At the end of the chain, work a slip stitch into the next 3 stitches of the glove. Then turn your work without chaining and work single crochets back into the ribbing, but only in the back loop. This creates the ribbing effect. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. Then work down the row with single crochets in the back loop only. There should again be only 5 stitches in the row that's sticking out. At the bottom of the row where the body of the glove is, again work a slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. Then turn your work and work up the ribbing with single crochets in the back loop only. Make sure you're working into the actual single crochets and not slip stitches you just did. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. For row 4 of the ribbing, work down until you reach the body of the glove. Then slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So for rows 1 and 3, we worked into the 3 stitches before turning, but for the rest of the ribbing, only work into 2 stitches with slip stitches before turning. This just helps with making the ribbing fit better, but it can vary from person to person. Work up the row with single crochets in the back loop only, then at the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. Repeat the steps for row 4 until there are 3 stitches on the body of the glove remaining. Slip stitch into those last 3 stitches, then turn your work. Work single crochets into the ribbing and the back loops only until the end of the row. At the end, chain 1. Then what you're going to do is turn the glove inside out. Align both ends of the ribbing and slip stitch them together. Doing this inside out makes the seam stay on the inside of the glove rather than on the right side. After the sides are slip stitched together, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. Pull the glove right side out and try it on. The ribbing should look like this. For the top ribbing, attach your yarn to any stitch and chain 4. Then work it the exact same way as the bottom ribbing. For the thumb hole ribbing, attach your yarn into any of the stitches and chain 4. The thumb hole is worked the same way as the top ribbing, except when you get to your slip stitch sections, only slip stitch into 2 stitches throughout the entire ribbing. So work single crochets down the chain, then slip stitch into the next 2 stitches of the body of the glove. Then turn your work and work single crochets up the row in the back loop only. Then when you're done with all the rows, turn the glove inside out and slip stitch the sides together. Once all the ribbing sections are done, make another glove and then you're all finished. This is the results of the gloves. I think they're just really cute, and you can do an array of different colors for them. If you choose a smaller hook size or a smaller yarn size, then you can do more rows of the granny square instead of just 3. You can do like 4 or 5 and add more color combinations. And these are just perfect for adding more personality to your fall outfits, and I just love them. I was thinking about making like 4 or 5 others for this video, but I was like, no, let me just do this one. But I'm definitely going to be wearing these for the fall. For the scarf, you'll be making 36 granny squares with variations of 3 colors. For the 4th row of each granny square, they're all done with black, and each granny square is 5 by 5 inches. Once you have all your granny squares, place them into 2 columns with the wrong sides facing up. You're going to take your tapestry needle and black yarn and sew the granny squares together, first by rows and then by columns. So take the bottom and the top granny square, then align them with the right sides touching. Then take your tapestry needle and sew in and out of each of the stitches at the top. When you reach the end of the 2 squares, immediately go into the next 2 squares and continue sewing. Once they're attached, take your next set of squares and repeat the process. Once all the rows are sewed together, take a really long piece of black yarn and repeat the process, but in the middle of the granny squares. Make sure you take your time and go into every stitch so that there's no weird gaps, especially where the squares were connected earlier. Once all the squares are all attached, attach your black yarn to any part of the edge of the scarf and chain 1. Then work 1 row of single crochet around the entire scarf to make the edges look neater. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. To make the tassels, first cut 5 really long pieces of black yarn, like around 22 inches. Then fold the pieces in half and use your hook to pull the loop of the pieces through the end of the scarf. Once you have that loop through, put your fingers inside the loop and pull your yarn through the loop tightly to secure it to the base of the scarf. You're going to repeat this for a total of 9 times for each side of the scarf. Once all the tassels are attached to your scarf, weave in all your ends and your scarf is complete. Here's the results of the scarf. I am in love with this scarf, you guys. After finishing it, I did throw it in the dryer just so it can kind of stretch out, and it made it way longer than I thought. I think I put the width and the length on the tutorial section, but if I didn't, I'll just have it right here. But I love this because you can just wrap it around in case it's like a really cold, chilly fall day. You can wrap it around like a balaclava and just make sure your ears are covered. You can wrap it around your mouth like that, and it can still go down as a scarf should. And I just think it's really, really cute. You can do so many color combinations with this scarf. And not only that, you can also do different granny squares. Like say for example, you want to do sunflowers, which is also good for fall. You could do moon squares, or you can do like a navy blue border, and then the tassels are navy blue, and then you can do star granny squares with blue and black and yellow, and add some sparkle yarn to it, and then you can have a Coraline themed scarf. Come on, that might be actually really cute. I should do that. I'm thinking about doing a Coraline themed video, but let me know if you'd want that. But yeah, this was the granny square scarf. To create the pumpkin bag, you first have to create 3 granny squares with the popcorn stitch. To do this, first create a slip knot, then chain 4. Slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, then chain 2. In the middle gap of the chain, work 5 double crochets. After, pull up a loop gently, then take your hook and insert it into the first double crochet stitch. Use your hook to pull the loop through that stitch. This creates your first popcorn stitch. After, chain 4 and create 5 more double crochets in the same space. After, again pull up a loop gently, then take your hook and insert it into the first double crochet stitch. Use your hook to pull the loop through that stitch. After, chain 4 and make 2 more popcorn stitches. You should have a total of 4 popcorn stitches at the end. Chain 4 and then slip stitch into the first stitch of the row. For the second row of the granny square, slip stitch into the next stitch, and then again in the chain 4 gap. Chain 2, which counts as a double crochet, and work 4 double crochets in that chain 4 gap. After, pull up a loop, then take your hook and insert it into the first double crochet stitch. Use your hook to pull the loop through that stitch. Then chain 4, and in the same gap, work 5 double crochets. After, again pull up a loop, then take your hook and insert it into the first double crochet stitch. Use your hook to pull that loop through, and then after, chain 2. In the next chain 4 space, work 2 more popcorn stitches. After, chain 4 and repeat making 1 more popcorn stitch. After, chain 2 and repeat making 2 popcorn stitches into each space for the next 2 gaps. At the end of the row, chain 2 and slip stitch into the first stitch of the row. For row 3, slip stitch into the next stitch, then again in the chain 4 gap. Chain 2, which counts as a double crochet, and work 4 double crochets in that chain 4 gap. After, pull up a loop, then take your hook and insert it into the first double crochet stitch. Use your hook to pull the loop through that stitch. Then chain 4, and in the same gap, make another popcorn stitch. After, chain 2. In the next gap, which is a middle gap, only work 1 popcorn stitch. After, chain 2, and in the next gap, work 2 popcorn stitches with a chain 4 in between them. After, chain 2 and repeat working 1 popcorn stitch in the middle gap and then 2 popcorn stitches into the side gaps until the end of the row. At the end of the row, chain 2 and slip stitch into the first stitch of the row. For row 4, slip stitch into the next stitch, then again in the chain 4 gap. Work 2 popcorn stitches into that chain 4 gap with a chain 4 in the middle of each popcorn stitch. Then in each of the middle sections, add only 1 popcorn stitch. After each of them, chain 2. Then repeat making 2 popcorn stitches in the corner sections and only 1 popcorn stitch in the middle sections. You're going to repeat this until finishing 7 rows. On row 8, slip stitch until the chain 4 gap. In that gap, attach your brown yarn and chain 2. In that same gap, work 2 double crochets. Then chain 2 and work 3 more double crochets. In the next chain space, which is a middle gap, only work 3 double crochets with no chaining. Repeat this for every middle gap. Once you reach a corner gap, work 3 double crochets, a chain 2, then 3 more double crochets. Then repeat working only 3 double crochets in the middle gaps and then 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the corner gaps until the end of the row. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, chain 1, cut the yarn and pull to secure. Once you have 3 granny squares, you're going to fold them into triangles and place them like this with the wrong sides up. Then you're going to slip stitch them together starting from the top left and working all the way down, which connects 2 of the panels. Once the first 2 panels are connected, chain 1, cut the yarn and pull to secure. Then take your last panel and slip stitch it the exact same way onto the other side of the other panels. Once they're all attached, turn the bag right side out. Then take your hook and attach your brown yarn to the top of the bag where you want the handle to be. I decided to go from gap to gap for the handle from the top corner of the bag. For the strap, you're going to chain 65. At the end of the chain, slip stitch into the opposite side of the bag. Then slip stitch into the next stitch before turning your work. Work half double crochets down the entire chain until you reach the other side of the bag. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the next 2 stitches of the bag. Then turn your work. Work another row of half double crochets down the strap. At the end of the second row of half double crochets, slip stitch into the next 2 stitches of the bag. Turn your work and work another row of half double crochets down the strap. At the end of the third row, slip stitch into the next stitch of the bag, chain 1, cut the yarn and pull to secure. For the green ruffles, attach your green yarn to any part of the top of the bag and chain 2. In that same stitch, work 3 half double crochets. In the next stitch, work a slip stitch. Then in the next, work 4 half double crochets. You're going to repeat working 1 slip stitch into 1 stitch, and then 4 half double crochets into the next stitch around the entire top of the bag, including both sides of the strap. It should look like this when the ruffles are complete. To make the leaf bows, first create a slip knot with your green yarn and chain 7. In the second chain from the hook, work 1 single crochet. In the next, work a half double crochet. In the next 2, work a double crochet into each. In the next, work a half double crochet. In the last, work a single crochet. Then in the opposite side of the row, which is the bottom of the crochets we just did, work a single crochet. Then in the next, a half double. Then in the next 2, work a double into each. Then in the next, work a half double. In the last stitch, work a single crochet. Then slip stitch into the first stitch of the row. After, chain 80. After chaining 80, rework the leaf pattern we did in the beginning. So in the second chain from the hook, work a single crochet. Then in the next, a half double crochet. Then in the next 2, a double into each. Then in the next, a half double. Then in the next, a single. Then turn the leaf slightly and on the bottom of the stitches, work the pattern again. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn and pull to secure. Tie one bow onto each side of the straps, and after, the pumpkin bag is complete. The last piece I made for this video is this pumpkin bag. Originally, it was going to be like an acorn bag, and this was going to be like a light brown, and then I have the dark brown, and then these puffs were actually only going to be on the strap, since like acorns, like their texture is on the top of the acorn, not the base of it. But I was like, let me just make it a pumpkin bag, and then I just added the little ruffles and the leaves here. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super happy with this tote bag. I feel like I should have done a brighter orange, and I feel like that might have made it look better to me. And also because the puff stitch is so puffy, you can see the angles of the granny squares. Like it pops out in the corners like this right here, and I'm not sure I like that. Maybe it will change, like if you block the tote bag after making it or block the squares before connecting them, maybe that'll change it. I still think it's cute, that's why I kept it in the video, but I do think that there's room for improvement. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments down below which one was your favorite or which one you'll be making, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Before we go, I want to quickly say thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that allows you to create your very own website. From creating a site that hosts your artistic portfolio to a site that allows you to sell your art or merchandise, Squarespace is the perfect site for you. If you're not sure where to start exactly, Squarespace offers a ton of different templates based on the type of website you're trying to build, whether it be a blog, a portfolio, or your first shop. Even after choosing a template, Squarespace offers many customization tools to develop your site even further. If you want to build a community with those who visit your site, Squarespace offers email campaigns, which can also be customized to your liking and have them sent to your customers regularly with updates and sales you may have going on. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/ecoshun for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video.